Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world one book at a time. And today, we're going to dive into one of the most powerful and most invisible systems of all, language.
Okay, so let me set up a little puzzle for you. First, meet Tasha. She's 18, she moves to LA and joins this spiritual yoga organization called 3HO. Pretty soon, she's wearing all white, she's chanting mantras, and her life basically revolves around its guru. Then, on the other side of town, you've got Alyssa, also 18. She's worried about gaining the freshman 15, so she joins a CrossFit gym. And before you know it, her life is all about these super intense daily workouts and a really strict paleo diet.
So you look at these two worlds, right? They seem like they're from different planets. One's all about spiritualism, the other is just sweat and protein powder. But what if I told you that the techniques used to build that kind of devotion in both places were, well, uncannily and even cultishly similar?
And here's the real secret sauce. Both Tasha's yoga group and Alyssa's CrossFit gym created their own private language. Tasha started talking about her lizard brain and trying to find a higher vibration. Meanwhile, Alyssa was learning the WOD, which is the workout of the day, inside a gym they all called the box. Now this insider lingo, it did something absolutely crucial. It created an us and a them, and it made the people on the inside feel special, like they were chosen, and really, really connected.
So what's the secret ingredient here that binds these kinds of groups together so tightly? I mean, it's not just about community or, finding a sense of purpose, but that's definitely part of it. The real answer is something we tend to miss, mostly because we can't even see it. Now, our culture loves to throw around these big, vague words like brainwashing, right? Or we say, oh, they drank the Kool-Aid. But you know what? Those are kind of flimsy, lazy answers. Brainwashing is actually a pseudoscientific term that most psychologists totally reject. It's a word that just shuts down our curiosity instead of actually explaining anything.
The real answer, the thing that's hiding in plain sight, it's language. From spiritual gurus to superstar fitness instructors, charismatic leaders all use these very specific linguistic tools to build togetherness, to justify behaviors, and to inspire a level of devotion that, from the outside, it can look a lot like a spell.
And this brings us to the source for this whole explainer, Amanda Montell's fantastic book, Cultish. Her whole argument is that if we really want to understand the power these groups have, we've got to stop focusing on the weird outfits and start listening, really listening, to the words.
So how exactly is this spell cast? Well, Montell breaks down these key linguistic tools that all sorts of charismatic leaders use, whether they're selling you enlightenment or eternal salvation or just a six-pack.
First up, you've got loaded language. This is when a group takes a perfectly normal word and pumps it full of a powerful, special new meaning. So, for example, in Tasha's yoga group, being called an old soul, which, is usually a compliment, it became this thing to dread. It meant you were failing, that you were stuck coming back, life after life, because you just couldn't get it right. Okay, the second tool is the thought-terminating cliché, and I love this one. Montell calls these semantic stop signs, which is just perfect. They're these short, catchy little phrases that sound really deep, but they're actually designed to completely stop critical thinking in its tracks and just end the conversation.
I mean, we've all heard this one, right? Everything happens for a reason. When something terrible happens and someone says that, it doesn't actually explain anything, does it? No. What it does is it shuts down all those messy, uncomfortable, complex feelings. It basically lets everyone off the hook from having to think too hard. It's a nice, simple, tidy answer where one just doesn't exist.
So why? Why are these tools so incredibly effective? Well, it's because they tap directly into one of the most powerful drives that we have as human beings.
These linguistic tricks work so well because they are literally hacking our deep-seated need to belong. There were these famous studies back in the 1950s, the Asch conformity studies. And get this, 75%, 3/4 of the people in the study would knowingly give a wrong answer just to agree with the rest of the group. That's how profoundly we are wired to conform, to be part of the tribe. And cultish language plugs right into that need for connection.
So here's the core idea of the book. Montell argues that language isn't just describing things, it's performing. It doesn't just label the world around us, it actively creates it for us. So when a group redefines words and makes up its own vocabulary, what it's really doing is building a brand new, shared reality for its members to live inside. A reality that can feel way more compelling than the one on the outside.
All right, so what's the big takeaway from all this? How do we navigate a world that is just filled with this kind of influential language, from our fitness classes to our Instagram feeds? And this is absolutely crucial. Being susceptible to cultish influence has very little to do with intelligence. In fact, sometimes smart, really idealistic people can be more vulnerable because they're better at rationalizing their own choices. The real defense isn't about being smarter, it's about being more aware. It's about learning to recognize these linguistic patterns so you can consciously decide how much you really want to buy in.
In the end, language is the tool that we all use to build our reality. And the book leaves us with this really powerful idea. The greatest freedom we have is the ability to choose our own words, to question the stories we're being sold, and to narrate our own life.
This explainer was based on the fantastic book, Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism by Amanda Montell.
Crisis in Perception is free to watch and listen to. Supporters on Patreon help fund the research and production that make this work possible. For the full long-form deep dive into this book and its ideas, follow the link in the description. If you enjoy these explainers, please subscribe and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.